Goalkeeper rumours everywhere. What's going on? That's what we're going to be discussing, because today feels like an important day in regards to West Ham's pursuit of a new number one. And by the time we go to bed tonight, at least here in the UK, we might have more of an idea as to who we are likely going to be signing. Now, over the last 24 hours, there's been some talk. There's been a lot of twists in West Ham's pursuit. I don't believe it. I don't think there's been any twists at all. I'll explain why later on in the video. And the reason I'm doing it later on is because we've got something important to do right now. You've got something important to do right now. No, it's not to subscribe and drop a like on the video. Do that anyway. You've got to choose your fighter. Now, this is where I wish I could edit. I'd bring in graphics, I'd have visuals of the people I mentioned, maybe some explosions for effect, some sound effects. Oh, I'd go full on. But I can't. So I'm just going to have to describe it to you. And I'm going to rely on you using your imagination. Now, if you want the full experience, close your eyes and hopefully you can picture what I'm saying to you, because you're about to choose your fighter. Over in the claret corner, we've got, well, actually, there's 5 options here. It's not a corner, is it? It's a pentagon. Vertice. There you go. It's a vertice, isn't it? Vertices. Vertices? Yeah. Over in the claret vertice, we've got Fabrizio Romano, who's been leading with the story on John Victor, and this has been backed up by ex-West Ham employee. Over in the blue corner, we've got Daniel Fowler with Mads Hermansen. He's been backed up by Henry Winter, Ben Jacobs, and ex-West Ham employee again. Over in the ExWHUEmployee corner, we've got Patrick Berger with Michael Zetterer, who's been backed up by ex-West Ham employee. Over in the blue corner, the dark blue corner, we've got AS Marsa, who's claiming Dominik Livakovic is our transfer target. Then over in the Wimbledon yellow corner, we've got Suzuki with ex-West Ham employee, who has an 80% chance of getting this one right due to the goalkeepers he's linked us with. Now, all could be true. We could want all of these goalkeepers. Will we sign one or two? That's my, believe it or not, that's my big question. There's an element of who, of course there is. But I think I believe 2 transfer rumours. So I'm stuck here. I'm stuck. I'm going to tell you what they are in a second. But I believe 2 of them. So are we signing 2 of them? What's going on? I want to know what you think is going on as well. It's prediction time. It's just a bit of fun. I'm not going to hold you to it. You get it right, brag, if you want. You get it wrong, don't worry about it. Who cares? It's not a big deal at the end of the day. It's just a little prediction on a Little West Ham YouTube channel. Speaking of Little West Ham YouTube channel, please do subscribe. Trying to hit 45,000 subscribers before we kick off against Sunderland. You know, subscribe. Right then, let's go. John Victor. Fabrizio Romano's been the one leading with this story all along. It came out of the blue on Friday. He's been adamant that this is happening, so much so that last night he's practically given it the here we go. He hasn't quite said that phrase, but yesterday it was that we were just figuring out the payment structure of the deal with Botafogo. He's basically saying it's done, that the agreement's done, personal terms are done. All it's needing is just, I don't know, the I dotted, and he's going to come to London for his medical. Romano is saying John to West Ham is pretty much done. Now moving on to the exciting one, I think, which is Mads Hermansen. Went a bit quiet. I've always thought this summer this is a guy we'd sign. Now this is the problem. I believe John because it's from Fabrizio Romano, right? I believe it. But I also believe Hermansen. And I'm second guessing myself. Is it because I want to believe it? Is it because I've believed all summer we will sign him, therefore I'm believing this? But Henry Winter, Ben Jacobs, ex-West Ham employee, 3 reliable people. And then we've got Daniel Fowler. Now Daniel Fowler was the one that led this last night. He deserves the credit for this new updated story of Mads Hermansen. Danish journalist, he put it up last night before anyone else and said, now, here's what's important. Sky Sports yesterday were reporting it was off. West Ham Hermansen wasn't going to be happening. We're too far apart in valuation. We weren't prepared to meet it. And they were reporting we were sort of miles away from what Leicester were wanting. Now, that could be true. However, I always respect a journalist who's willing to neck on line Romano's doing it with John, right? Daniel Fowler, Danish journalist, came out and said, I think Sky Sports are wrong. I think they're wrong. So West Ham, Hermansen, talks are still ongoing. West Ham still want him. Hermansen, and this is what he said, Hermansen's agreed to deal with West Ham. He said personal terms are done. Now, the little man often gets forgotten in these types of things, and the bigger journalists like Henry Winter, Ben Jacobs come along with the same story and he just disappears. But Daniel Fowler was the one that went first on this. He was the one that went against Sky Sports. So Daniel, you're probably not watching. You might not even be able to speak English, but if you are, I see you. Well done. Credit to you, my friend. I would love Hermansen. I'm still hoping we get him. And it's nothing against John. I don't know who John is. Therefore, I do not have an opinion on John. Therefore, I don't want nor not want John. Hermansen I do have a strong opinion on. I think he'd be a wonderful goalkeeper for us, and I would be excited. I would be excited because if we signed him, he starts against Sunderland. He's in my opinion, he's that much better than Areola. He just starts, and that's what I want this summer. A goalkeeper that comes in and is basically too good to put on the bench and is too good to not start over Areola. And I strongly believe Hermansen is that goalkeeper. He's not the only goalkeeper that can do that, but that's who I want. I want him in as West Ham's new number one. Get Hermansen to the ball. But I'm inclined to believe this one. So why do I believe we're signing John and Hermansen? Are we signing two goalkeepers? Now, when we were first linked to John, that was my suspicion, that we're expecting Areola to be unhappy if we sign a new keeper like Hermansen. Therefore, he's likely going to want to move. So are we going after John so that we can allow him to move? But here's the thing. Since doing research on John over the last few days, I'm not so sure John would come to West Ham to sit on the bench, because he's quite good at the minute. He's number one for Botafogo. There's a lot of, Brazil are saying he's the best goalkeeper in the league at the minute. And whilst he's never had a Brazil cap, as mentioned before, apparently Ancelotti is looking to call him up for the next Brazil squad. So if he is on the verge of getting called up to the Brazil squad, especially in a World Cup year, do you come sit on the bench? I don't think that's a wise move. There's a lot of competition for Brazilian goalkeeper spots in that squad as well. I don't know. If it wasn't for Fabrizio Romano, I'm not so sure I'd be as on board with it as I am. Anyway, that's what I believe. Now, Patrick Berger is reporting that we've gone back in for Michael Zetterer. Now, we were linked to him in the window previously by ExWHUEmployee, the Werder Bremen goalkeeper. They've got a really good young goalkeeper, Bremen, as I've discussed prior. So their expectation is that he would step up anyway at some point. So they could cash in on Zetterer. Now, their price tag's €5 million. That's how much they want. It's not much. What's that? £4 million. It's not much at all. But that's what Patrick Berger, one of the Bundesliga correspondents, is reporting. Now, AS Marsa has got a new name. I've not seen us linked to this goalkeeper before, so if we have, apologies. Feel free to correct me. But they linked us yesterday to Dominik Livakovic, who's the 30-year-old goalkeeper for Fenerbache, and his price tag is €10 million. Now, we've got Livakovic at €10 million. We've got John at €8 million, and now we've got Zetterer at €5 million. So there's sort of low-cost goalkeepers here. Then we've got Hermansen at £20-something million. So it's a bit of a jump, isn't it? But Patrick Berger, when discussing Zetterer, also linked us to Livakovic too. First time I've seen us linked to him. I've never heard of him. I can't tell you anything about him. I'm just telling you what's going on out there in regards to what the journalists are reporting. Then, fifth and final, we've got Suzuki. I never mentioned that. Did I do that? I don't think I did. Oh my God, I only done 4 corners, didn't I? I ended up doing Claret Blue, Ecru. Did I do ExWHUEmployee in Suzuki in my pentagon? I don't think I did. Oh no. Over in the white and orange corner. It's not corner. Anyway, ex-West Ham employee all summer has said that Suzuki's our number one target. That feels like it's gone a bit cold. It feels like that one's just died down a little bit. I think he reported he did, I know, I read it. Last week he did report saying that Parma were perhaps getting a little bit closer to our evaluation for Suzuki. That's off the table. Weirdly, the weird thing is, now, like I said, I respect anyone that commits themselves, and X has done that with Suzuki, but no one else has really got on board with it. There's been some newspapers and whatever that have followed them on, but not as committed as X has been. I think that one's off the table. I get the vibe that that's off the table. To be fair, I get the feeling it's between Hermansen and John, possibly both. They're just more believable. So are we signing one goalkeeper, or are we signing two? Now, we often do this sometimes, and I don't think it's a bad thing. I think more clubs do this as well, which is you have 3 or 4 targets for your position. You go start talking to all 3 or 4 clubs and players and see what the deal is. Then once you've got the terms of the deal, that's when you decide who to go for. And it doesn't mean you're going to go for the cheapest one. You go for what you think is the best value. So if you value the goalkeeper at 25 million, but you're going to have to pay 30, but then you value this goalkeeper at 12 million, and actually they're going to take 12 million, even though he's cheaper, it might be more aligned. Let's flip it round, actually. If you were to go for a goalkeeper that you value at 25 and they accept 25, then you've got a goalkeeper you value at 10 but actually want 15, you might be more inclined to go for 25 million one. So whilst he's more expensive, it comes down to what you consider to be better value. So I think that's what we're maybe doing here. Maybe we've just got John lined up. Maybe it's a way of forcing Leicester City to talk to us, because they need to sell. Hermansen and El Canus is the 2 players worth a bit of bob that they've got. Now, we're being linked to him as well, but I'm keeping this about goalkeepers. But maybe this John stuff's just made Leicester come back to the table, because there's not that many clubs looking for a goalkeeper anymore. Newcastle were possibly the biggest club. Well, they've got Adam Ramsdale now. Brentford needed one. They went early and got Kelleher. Chelsea have been rumoured to want one, but because of Sanchez's performances during the Club World Cup, they've decided actually we're just going to go with Sanchez, which I'm not going to lie is quite understandable. I thought he had a fantastic tournament. I thought he was insane against PSG. Maybe Chelsea might make a late move for Hermansen with the Maresca link. We'll wait and see. But I feel like most clubs that weren't a keeper has got one. Burnley going after someone, they've got one. Sunderland got Roof in, so even they've got a new number one, because I've seen him linked to Livakovic, and I thought, I'm not sure about that one. Are you aware Sunderland have spent over 10 million on the goalkeeper? Not sure, don't think you are, because they have. Do they want another one? I don't think so. I think they'll just go with Patterson as their number 2 this season. Anyway, that's it for the West Ham goalkeeper rumours. A lot will change today. The landscape will change today. We will get more updates, because people will be afraid of not knowing, so it's going to be a bit of a free-for-all, I think, frenzy between all the journalists trying to keep up to date with the West Ham pursuit of a new number 1, because we're a big club. It works for them. My hunch, up until Monday was the first day. I wish I never did this. Monday was the first day. I thought, all right, maybe we're not going to get Hermansen. We're going to get John. But right up until Monday, I've always believed we will sign Hermansen. You know this. Most of you, right? You know this. Back me up. You don't have to, but I'm back on the Hermansen train, right? Choo-choo! We're going to sign Hermansen. I need to learn how to edit, right? Look, train effects would have been better rather than me trying to do one. Anyway, that's why I don't think there's been any twists. It's been claimed the twists were back in for Hermansen. I don't think there was. I think we were always in for Hermansen. It's just that Fabrizio Romano said John, and everybody jumped to John just in case we signed John. But actually, us and Leicester, I mentioned it a few times now, I can't get over it. At the weekend, Hermansen was saying goodbye to the Leicester fans. You don't do that unless you know you're going or you're likely to go. There's only a week till the season kicks off this weekend. If he's there and he's fit, he's playing. But after the game against Fiorentina, he did a lap of honour by himself. That is, significant. So he thinks he's going, so where's he going? Hopefully to the ball.